Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to our webinar today. My name is Brian, and for those of you who don't know about us, we are a government-owned organization in Singapore that invests in and helps build deep tech startups, talent, and communities. At SGInnovate, our work involves connecting with the global deep tech ecosystem, working with entrepreneurial scientists to bring their innovative research from lab to market, as well as developing deep tech talent. Today's event, Advantages of 5G, Understanding New Applications and Opportunities, is presented by SGInnovate and Nordic Innovation House. Today, we have a panel of amazing experts who will be sharing more about the new applications and opportunities that 5G could bring. I would also like to encourage our audience here today to share their thoughts on this topic and engage with our speakers by using the Q&A box below. And so, with no further ado, I will now pass the time to Nicole, who is the Tech Innovation and Startup Lead at the Nordic Innovation House. Nicole, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone from Asian time. And also, if we have anyone joining us from overseas, a very good welcome to you. I'm Nicole Cham. I'm representing Nordic Innovation House in Singapore. Now we will start sharing the slides. Thank you. So, I'd just like to sort of put forward that Nordic Innovation House is actually a platform for tech and innovative companies to be connected via our community. We have 5 houses globally, 2 in the United States, Silicon Valley and New York. We are in Singapore, and we have 2 other houses in Hong Kong and Tokyo. So our first Nordic Innovation House has been set up since 2014, and we have been connecting many Nordic as well as local market ecosystem players in the different vertical streams. So, okay. So these are some of our key drivers, what we're trying to do in the Nordic Innovation House. We are actually an extension of the 5 Nordic countries: Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Iceland. So we want to create that strong Nordic brand awareness within Singapore and be the link between Nordic and Singapore ecosystem players, such as today. We have Singtel, we have university, we have also a couple of Nordic companies who are all experts in the 5G area, so that we can discuss about what needs to be done and possible collaborations in the near future. And we are also acting as a connector for the tech startups and scale-ups into Singapore through different activities that we do with our local partners. Yeah, so 5 of the areas that we're focusing on in 2022. One is the sustainable ocean economy. This is an area that we are looking at very thoroughly. We actually have a vision that by 2030, we would be able to reach a 0 carbon emission level within Nordics, so that Nordics will become the most sustainable and integrated region in the world. We're also looking similarly at green energy and mobility, as well as circular business models. Smart connectivity refers to smart mobility and connectivity, so that's where 5G and smart cities could sit under. And the last but not least would be life sciences and health tech, so that's also pretty self-explanatory. These are the key areas, and we're always happy to support companies, both in Nordics, our partners here, investors, and different government and private organizations to make this collaboration a success. Some of the key events that we have run and will be running this year would be the Nordic Maritime that happened in April with the Singapore Maritime Week, the green energy and 5G in the second half of this year. And then back in Helsinki, I think it's also quite well known in Singapore, is the Slush event, which is one of the 3 biggest startup events in Europe. So that's happening November 17th to 18th. So we welcome any partners who would like to work with us. And these are our contact information for myself and for Jacqueline. So I'd like to now be able to warmly welcome Tricia, who is our very good representative company from Sweden called Axis Communications. Tricia, please welcome.
Thank you, Nicole. Let me also start sharing my slides. I hope everyone can see my slides. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tricia. So as Nicole has mentioned, I come from Axis Communications. I'm the BDM for Future Business in Axis. So my key focus for Future Business is to really look into the new growth business area in terms of cloud and IoT offering, as well as how we could actually collaborate with the ecosystems to capture opportunities in 5G. So a quick introduction about who is Axis. We are a technology company founded in Sweden in 1984. We created the world's first network cameras in 1996. And since then, we have also expanded our product portfolio into network cameras, audio systems, and also access control that can work with advanced analytics to provide as much value as possible for our customers. So as a leader in the network and network video and IoT solutions, we also have a long history of partnership, which we recognize right from the very beginning that we need to collaborate, and collaborations will be a key differentiators and driver for our business. So over the year, we have actually built up a very deep pool of hardware and software partners that we can count on to address the different needs. We're excited by the promise and development of 5G. We see growing opportunities enabled by connecting IoT devices using 5G, and we believe we can address the topic from the network video perspective, especially in Singapore, where enterprise organizations, carriers such as Singtel, and also government agencies, for example, like SGInnovate, are working together to push for the early adoptions of 5G. So I think we definitely believe that our 5G is set to disrupt and transform many industries. The ability to connect devices and also machines to secure, reliable, and optimized network from any place at any time is enabling us new ways to work, think, and also solve traditional business challenges. When we look into the value of 5G for businesses, we actually see some common characteristics. For example, you can run process remotely regardless of how critical it is. It has real-time control of every business processes. It has an inherently higher security level without sacrificing overall performance. It also provides a dedicated network for businesses where high speed, high capacity, low latency connectivity is crucial. So we do see that emerging 5G use cases for video where super fast broadband will bring the most value and early adoption, such as public surveillance in cities and also transportations. Other industries that we see that we are also having discussions will be the manufacturing and also critical infrastructure, where we see that use cases are targeted at mission critical IoT, such as productions, automations, robotic control, or even asset tracking. I think that we will. I think we will discuss that further in the panelists. So you may ask, how can we actually be part of this? We feel that while the potential of 5G are exciting and promising, at Axis we do believe that 5G success will depend heavily on industry players and customers coming together to brainstorm, to co-create and test. As industry needs are really very diverse, and also the ecosystem landscape is pretty fragmented. We don't see any single company that has all the expertise or capabilities or solutions that could actually say that they have everything for you. So I think we from Axis perspective, we do see that a partnership approach is essential to make 5G a success. So thank you for the introductions. I'll hand the stage to Matias from Immersal now. Matias, over to you.
Thank you. If I share my screen as well.
Let me stop share.
Perfect. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Matias Koski and I work for Immersal. So about 4.5 months I have been part of Immersal family, and past 10 years I work for Nokia and Microsoft, mainly in Finland, London, and also recently in China, Shenzhen. And the thing what we do is that we enable metaverses for everyone, everywhere, on every device. So to give you like some kind of understanding what it could be in practice, so here's like 4 key verticals what we are providing for our customers. And to enable all of this, you need low latency, i.e. 5G network, and then you have to have the exact position of the user and also the rotation of the phone or tablet or AR glasses. So in case like you understand that if you want to blend the real world with digital world, we have to know exactly the location, that we can kind of like merge these two phases together. And few use cases on left, you can see the snapshot from the airport. So I think most of you have used to kind of like have the 2D indoor navigation, for example, like on Google Maps, but we can bring that one to 3D and also add more features on this experience. So basically we can also merge their different kind of digital signs. They can be toilet sign, exit signs, info desk sign. We can also merge your flight details over there, and even can like create some kind of mini game over there. And also one interesting application has been created in US. So there's like few blind people or like people who is kind of like almost blind, so they need assistance. So they can be like voice assistants. So people walking on the airport only using their phone, and they get the voice assistant from the phone where they should go and where they are looking at and what is kind of like happening around them. Then there is the industrial sector. You can have this kind of very simple survey tool. Let's say employees walking on the industrial side, and he can see like green boxes, yellow boxes, and red boxes around him. So basically green box says that everything's okay, no need for attention. Yellow box says that something has to be done soon, but not immediately. And the red box is that something has to be done immediately. And then the employee can just click the box and it will show you what's wrong. And if you click the box again, it will give you navigation to the asset. Then on the left corner, you can see entertainment vertical. So in next maybe 12, 24 months, you can see in some big stadiums, some kind of like pre-games before the match or halftime game, during the stop, or then there can be also different kind of fan experiences after the game. And then the last part is we call it like metaverse as a service. So basically someone like, let's say Singtel can map the whole Singapore, all of the streets in Singapore, and this map they can then sublease for their partners. So let's say like some app developers, and they use this map to create different kind of virtual activities in some busy locations. That's all about me. Then over to Connie.
To Tony first, right?
Tony, yes, sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Matias, for the sharing. So I'm the moderator of this panel's discussion. So I'm Tony Kwek. So I'm a professor and head of Information System Technology and Design, a pillar in SUTD, as well as the director of Future Comms R&D program. So in this panel discussion, we will have Tricia, we have Matias, and also we have another important panelist. So she's Connie. So Connie, maybe you can introduce yourself first.
All right. So hi, everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Connie, and I'm the Senior Director Driving Innovation and Strategic Partnership in Group Enterprise in Singtel. Part of my portfolio includes running our Future Now Innovation Center. And if you look at this virtual background behind me, I think that should give you a sense of how the space and place is like. So this is our very key customer landing point, as well as thought leadership center, where we actually actively engage our customers on various technologies and help them understand the value that technologies can add, to their business.
Thank you.
Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Connie. So to kick off the discussion, I think we heard from Tricia, Matias, some use cases. But I think what the audience will be interested in is what are the possible use cases that they will see coming in the next maybe 12 to 24 months with the use of 5G. So any panelists can answer this question. Any volunteers?
Yeah, I can start.
Yep.
So there will be lots of different kind of AR and VR experiences enabled by 5G. So previously we didn't have the bandwidth and the speed of the network, but now in most of the big cities, like Singapore is a good example, the 5G is already quite widespread. So there will be lots of different kind of experiences. So one example could be that there is like a digital human as a service. So basically there will be some kind of virtual guide guiding tourists in Singapore in all of the like very famous landmarks. So you don't have to have any more like physical human there explaining that this is the most attractive place in Singapore. It can be done by digital human. That's one.
Yep, so I fully agree with Matias. I think 5G with its ultra low latency is going to be a very key enabler to XR technologies, bringing about that truly seamless and smooth immersive experience. And I believe that is also being leveraged quite a bit in the corporate skills training space. So many organizations, especially in countries which are very advanced, with regard to 5G, are using, VR, AR, MR enabled by 5G to do a lot of training. So I think that is another big use case. Other use cases that come to my mind would be in the space of smart automation, for example. So I'm happy to share that Singtel is working with PSA, which is our Port of Singapore Authority, to basically leverage 5G to bring about next generation port operations. So this is really to prepare, for the Tuas megaport. So many exciting use cases over there. For example, tele-operations of cranes, autonomous inspection of cranes using drones. So again, drone operations is another good use case of 5G. Your fleet management of autonomous vehicles, as well as enhanced automated container handlers that does all the shipping, from ship to shore, the picking up of containers, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of automation. It's completely manless. Everything is being tele-operated from a command and control center. So it's pretty cool. So smart automation is another area. Then of course in the healthcare space as well, enhanced telemedicine, providing that speedy specialist treatment to people who are living in the more remote areas. That is one. Remote surgery, that is another area. Singtel recently did a holomedicine POC together with the National University Health System. And what we did was to basically get some of the brain surgeon to put on the holographic visor. Currently, some of them struggle with the issues of having to shift their glance, during a brain surgery from the patient to the MRI, which is in 2D format. So by putting on the VR headset, they see a 3D augmented reality of the MRI scan, which they can then superimpose or layer it onto the brain of the patient. So then that means that the surgeon knows exactly where the tumors are at. They are able to make the incision more accurately. This helps to speed up the entire surgery process as well. So even in the healthcare space, lots of very cool 5G use cases as well.
Yeah, I think as what Matias and Connie has mentioned, so there's a lot of use cases, but as Tricia has mentioned, do we have the sort of ecosystem, the right partners in this? And if I'm as a new player, how do I get into this? Maybe any panelists can share.
Yeah, at least like we have seen globally and also in Singapore that you should trust the local mobile network operators. They have really good ecosystem already in place. And of course, like if you have something value adding for them, you should always apply. And like we have been partnering with many telcos around the world and also with Singtel in Singapore.
Yeah, one thing we could also add that, if it's Singaporean companies who are really interested into embarking on this, right? there's also a lot of other areas that they could seek help, or like, where they could actually expand this network to meet the like-minded industry people. For example, like, working with IMDA or leveraging on the GovTech grants. I think one of, I don't know if IMDA or SGInnovate will be able to elaborate further on that. But of course, I think for us who are already running trials with different companies and also together partnering with Singtel, I think we'll definitely be interested to, to continue to start these discussions with any of you as well.
Yep. So over here at Singtel, we also believe, right, that the whole ecosystem approach is the key to success for 5G. And we are building our 5G ecosystem of partners consisting of app developers, solution providers, content developers, if we're talking about XR related services and solutions, as well as device manufacturers as well. So the key is really to build that, extensive ecosystem. And in Singtel, we also have a very systematic and structured way that we're engaging our customers. So Future Now is one of the very first customer landing point for customers, corporates or SMEs who are interested to hear about 5G. Many of them come in through the doors of Future Now. And at Future Now, we show them, the capabilities of 5G. We run through with them some of the use cases across various industries. And then we actually carry out an ideation dialogue, with our customers and kind of help them to identify what are some of their business pain points and challenges. And then how does 5G comes in here to help them to achieve their business aspiration. So before they leave the doors of Future Now, we would already have identified 2 or 3 use cases, 5G use cases, for us to follow up on. And then what we do is to then channel them over to our test bed facility or our development center, which we call CODE. CODE stands for Center of Digital Excellence. This is a place, think of it as a digital test bed facility. We have the 5G installation. So we're getting our customers, our partners like app developers to basically test out, some of these interesting applications, leveraging the 5G network. We also have an outdoor 5G test bed in Sentosa, by the way, that focuses on outdoor 5G use cases. So we have several, 5G test beds that we can use to engage our customers and to carry out use case trials with them.
Yeah, so I mean, to add on that, so as what the panelists have shared, Connie and Tricia, so there's actually many avenues where if you're a new player want to involve, there's also grants available. Short-term, long-term translation at IMDA. If you're interested, just take a look at IMDA site. If you're interested more research, then maybe you can look at the Future Comms R&D program. But I guess today's focus is on the use case. I will focus more on the use case. So I think along to the ecosystem player. So who are the ecosystem player who should be engaged to make 5G applications something successful?
So like what I mentioned, right? Various players, right? They could be app developers, they could be solution providers, content developers. An example of one of the partners that we have, ordered to our ecosystem is Axis Communications. Very happy to have them on board. So they specialize in their very intelligent cameras, right? Real-time analytics, so on and so forth. So this is where 5G comes in really very useful for some of these critical use cases, 5G use cases, mission critical 5G use cases. So I think Axis is using their cameras to do a lot of real-time surveillance, access control. These are all mission critical use cases that, will really leverage and tap on 5G ultra low latency as well as network slicing capability. So at Singtel, we never recommend technology for technology's sake. At the end of the day, it all depends on the use case. And I think 5G really shines when the use cases or when the applications are mission critical. You can't afford the network performance to be compromised in any way. Then 5G comes in really useful for that.
I think we have a question actually quite fast. So it's from Damien, says that what are the likely use cases for 5G in a commercial scene? I think probably he was thinking of not just in testing or test case scenario. So any panelists want to share?
I think maybe I can share perhaps maybe in a manufacturing plant. So I think when we talk about like what would be the early adopters, I think we would say that the manufacturing companies are probably one of them who will see the 5G benefits in a high-speed manufacturing environment. Because if you have ever been to a manufacturing plant, you will know that it's a highly complex and it's also a hardwired environment. So, where the machines and the robots are all equipped with a lot of sensors, and they're all connected to perhaps things like cameras and that are also connected to high-power analytics engine that, reacts to the supply and demand. So any changes to all these productions line or manufacturing line are very costly and time-consuming. But today, the customer needs are very diverse and also demanding. So manufacturer actually needs to maintain a very wide product portfolio to meet the diverse and demanding needs of the customers. And hence there's a need for flexible productions to accommodate these rapid changes. And if we could actually use 5G to eliminate the need for wired connectivities, it actually provides them a greater degree of flexibility. So for example, on top of that, they could also use they could also add additional sensors to multiple machines, which, they could, in fact, generate more data and then also at the same time make more sense of the data to make their business more efficient. So this is actually one of the examples that we're seeing currently in quite a number of countries.
So I just want to add on to what Tricia mentioned as well. Singtel is working with quite a few manufacturing customers, to leverage 5G. So like what Tricia mentioned, right? If things are cableless, right, it lends a lot more autonomy and flexibility to the layout of your manufacturing facility or your factory floor. And a lot of all these smart factories are already using a lot of robotics as well. So I think robotics is another very key use of 5G, your autonomous guided vehicles, your autonomous robots. There are many such robotics currently in the smart factory, and then coupled with a lot of robotic arms, your devices and sensors. So 5G ultra low latency comes in to provide the massive connectivity for all these robotics devices and sensors so that they can communicate and collaborate very effectively with one another. I just want to highlight also that in Singtel, what we have done is not just to look at enhanced connectivity of 5G, but to really marry the capabilities of 5G with multi-access edge compute. So that gives us an industry first. Some of you might have heard about it in the news. This is an industry first orchestration platform that we have developed that allows users to orchestrate across networks, clouds, multi-access edge compute, as well as various applications. So I think that's a pretty cool platform. It's really platform as a service that we have developed here, not just 5G as a connectivity.
Yeah. So maybe I can just add a bit on that. So I guess what is the key part of 5G compared to the previous generation is this computing, right? As what Connie has mentioned, computing will come all the way to the edge beside the core. So all these AR, VR applications will be a reality. I guess I try to get back to Tricia. You talk about advanced manufacturing. The common question that SME or companies always say, hey, I have Wi-Fi, right? I have wireless or just Wi-Fi in a factory and it's free spectrum. Why do I need a 5G for all these applications? Can't I just rely on Wi-Fi? Maybe you can just share any experience you have or what is, yeah.
That would not be, to be honest, I don't really have an answer on this at the moment because we're also still studying into how the different sensors are being connected onto the 5G network. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I can chime in here.
Yeah.
Right. We actually do see Wi-Fi complementing 5G. All right. The only difference is this: Wi-Fi is an unlicensed spectrum, whereas 5G is licensed. So being an unlicensed spectrum, Wi-Fi is quite susceptible, to being interrupted, to being disrupted. So if you are running a mission critical application or operation within your facility, then I think 5G is a much more reliable network. The other thing is many of these smart factories, like what I've said just now, are already using a lot of devices, sensors, AGVs and all, right? So the massive connectivity is very important. 5G provides that higher data rate, that greater throughput, so Wi-Fi may not be able to sustain, that huge amounts of information flow, especially if you want it real time as well. Yeah, so that's the key difference. The other thing is a lot of all these factories, right? They use drones and all, and they use all this robotics from indoor to outdoor. you know, because for example, a huge mega warehouse could have many different blocks. So there is an indoor area, outdoor area. And if you are going to use drones and AGV in a very seamless manner, then 5G comes in to support that seamless operation. Because once your drone fly out from the indoor area, you know, without 5G, if it's just Wi-Fi alone, it may just drop. So it's really about that seamless, uninterrupted operations.
I just chip in. If you imagine you have 4K cameras in a factory, then you have, let's say, 40 of them. So you try connecting to Wi-Fi, I guess you have a very, very bad experience. So try use 5G.
Blind spots as well.
Yep, you're right. So I think there's a few questions from Daniel. He says, for up and coming startups in this space, what are some of the major roadblocks or obstacles holding back so far? Is infrastructure still an issue, or is the lack of access to clients or partners? Anybody want to take up this? It's related to startup.
Yeah, I think like the infrastructure is already there. So now we need more developers to develop these use cases. And if you have like any use case in your mind, I'm sure that all the telco operators are very keen to hear those and kind of like develop together with you these use cases.
Maybe let me at this point share about our 5G rollout roadmap in Singapore. So as of April this year, a good 75% of Singapore already has the 5G coverage. I'm talking about outdoor coverage. And we already have around 300 locations that have indoor locations that have got 5G coverage as well. For example, you know, shopping malls along Orchard Road, many of them, your 313 Somerset, or even, you know, your large shopping complexes like Vivo City, Ang Mo Kio Hub, Bedok Mall, all these already have got 5G coverage, indoor coverage. And you might have read from the news that recently the Northeast line, you know, the SMRT Northeast line also has got that 5G coverage. And the whole stretch of shops and malls along the Northeast line also has got 5G. So this is the 5G rollout map. By 2023 next year, we are expecting that the whole Singapore will be covered with 5G.
Okay, so I guess the infrastructure is not an issue. And for companies, I think it's for you to step up of your comfort zone. I guess a lot of application services are currently used on 4G, but try to explore the different opportunities, whether it's Singtel or IMDA, to try out 5G and see whether you can build up new services. I think there's a question about built environment. So you say, are there any use cases in built environment addressing what 5G can do and what 4G cannot do? Anybody want to take up this built environment?
Okay, maybe I'll give this a shot.
Yep.
Happy to share that we have entered a partnership with ATOS. You know, so ATOS is a physical security company to basically leverage 5G to build a 5G powered integrated command and control center. So this basically gives them 5G enabled real-time video analytics, and using that they can then you know, basically, you know, roll out a real-time integrated facilities management platform. So you know, 5G is really about enhancing, you know, some of these things, some of these platforms, your video analytics, your sensor capabilities and all. And with that, I believe ATOS is trying to roll out Singapore's largest digital twin, leveraging 5G. So that is one. Another use case that I can think of is really in terms of collaboration and communication. So we have a pretty interesting demonstration at the Future Now Center. And this is actually a platform that Savannah Jurong, who is one of our key strategic partners, actually use, you know. And the whole virtual collaborative platform is actually based off BIM, Building Information Modeling. And this means that when you enter that virtual collaborative workspace, everything that you see around you in terms of the dimensions are all true to life. So Savannah Jurong actually, together with the support of one of their partner vendors, VR Collab, so I'm kind of advertising for them over here. So basically they use that platform quite a bit, you know, to do design, to do planning, and even the build out, you know, of a building on estate. So this really brings collaboration and communication and the whole concept of remote working, you know, remote collaboration to a whole new level altogether.
Hey, Connie, just jumping in. Connie, this is Nicole. I think the headset and the microphone is a bit far from your mouth. So we have been missing some of your words.
Oh,
Maybe
sorry,
you could,
sorry.
no problem. Maybe you can lift the microphone closer to your mouth.
Okay. Is this better? Is this better, Olive?
Now it's good.
Is this better now?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with my earphones. I should get it replaced. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I hope this is clearer now.
Yeah, it's clear now, Tony. Thank you. So I think we can continue on the question. Anybody want to add a bit on environment, or just move on to the next question? Okay, if not, I'll be is there 5G underground? Can it be deployed in tunnels? Is the underground coverage of the same performance as above ground in terms of lag, speed, etc.? Probably Singtel is the best.
It is a much more complex endeavor. So like what I shared just now, the Northeast line currently has got 5G network. So we just roll out 5G, to that line. It's a much more complex endeavor, but we managed to do it. In terms of performance, it's more or less the same.
Maybe I can add on, it's a bit techy. So underground, I think as long as you have sufficient relay stations and all this fiber related, so there's no issue. I think it's more of a deployment and design, as Connie mentioned.
But more complex.
Yeah, it's more complex, it's more costly. Okay. So Matias, so there's a question from you. Matias, could you elaborate more on what you meant by needing more developers? Is there a lack of developers in the market right now for startups to hire?
Yeah, I think like lack of developers who are developing 5G use cases. I know that many of these use cases are still like under NDA, and there's like several proof of concepts ongoing around the world, but there could be always more these 5G developers.
Yeah, yes, also there's a question for me, so I just have to answer. So what role does the new university such as SUTD have to play in the 5G space? As I mentioned, I'm heading this Future Comms R&D program funded by NRF, leading agency IMDA. So we are looking at beyond 5G. So we do have a test bed that look at other open platforms and exploring, as say, mmWave and other type of technologies. So there's another avenue, maybe for some companies who will look at future research. So we have two different levels of opportunities in this 5G ecosystem in Singapore. So we do welcome companies or any who are interested to contact us. Yep. So that is as much as I want to elaborate. So you can contact me if you want to know more, because I want to focus more on the use case right now. Okay, so I think there's a question. We'll talk about this journey of 5G. I guess we heard from some of these companies that they are not sure how do they start, right? Whether it's the SME level of companies. We talk about a lot of exciting use cases, let's say healthcare, POC. Sometimes they're worried about, let's say, the business model, or how do you scale up? How do I find the right partner? Some of the equipment I find is just 4G connectivity only, don't know 5G connectivity. So maybe any panelists can share what is the advice you want to give to companies. How do they start? How do they start this 5G journey?
I think, as I mentioned earlier on, I think what we can do is, first of all, I think really look into IMDA's website to see what are grants that they can have. I think secondly is really to understand, I think if you are here today with us listening to what we are saying about the use cases, you're already taking the first step to understand also about the use cases, the potential of use cases. I think that's another areas, to really understand how 5G are helping other industry or your industries to solve some of the business challenges. That's one way. And I think the next step will be definitely to maybe perhaps to talk to any one of us that, you feel that, if let's say you think that, video, from a network video perspective, Axis is able to help you, we're definitely open to discuss on this. There are companies like Connie or mentioned earlier on, like, there are companies that could do software developings and things like that. And we currently Axis, what we have is that, we have an open platform where, we allow companies to actually create applications on our cameras. So if you want to look into any of the use cases, or even look into the ecosystems that we have built over the years with our hardware and our software partners, we're happy to discuss this further to see how we could co-create solutions together. And then of course, I will bring it to Singtel's lab to try it.
Yeah, so I fully agree with Tricia, right? Find a partner who has an ecosystem of other partners, right? So Singtel, Axis Communications, Immersal as well. I'm sure, we all have our ecosystem of partners. So once you come through our doors, once you come into us, we open that floodgate, to all the other partners that will be able to provide value to your business. But at the end of the day, it's really not about using 5G for 5G's sake. It is really about understanding what are your business needs, the applications that you have, the technologies that you have. Does performance really get enhanced because of 5G? And then to co-create, to co-ideate, and then to co-create the 5G use cases with you. So like what I've mentioned, we have a very structured and systematic approach, right, to engaging our customers. If you want to hear more about 5G, understand how 5G works, hear about the use cases, come into Future Now first. This is our state-of-the-art technology center where we showcase some of these things. And then we will then ideate with you, lock down a few key use cases that we can then follow up on. And then like what Tricia mentioned, right, we have our test bed facility, we have our development center with the 5G installation. So we welcome you, to use our facility to test out how your application works. So we're all here, to provide you that support, in your 5G journey in that sense.
Okay, so great. So do contact Singtel, do contact Connie of all different opportunities. I think we talked about some use cases like manufacturing. We talk about entertainment, metaverse. We talk about videos. Are there application or use cases that that the panelists foresee will be coming in a few years' time, but have a lot of new opportunities?
Yeah, I think like the next big thing in terms of like social media will be like personal metaverses. So basically everyone can create their own metaverse, like let's say in Singapore or next to your living room. And you can add different kind of digital objects over there, and then you can share that with your friends. So it's kind of like, I would say kind of like geotagged Instagram 2.0. And kind of like things will be more like personal going forward. And then you are the one who owns the data and who can modify what you have in this metaverse. So there won't be any more like Facebook or Google dominating the market.
I have to check whether Facebook, Google, anybody is. But I think, Matias, along to this line, so if I'm going to do this personal metaverse, if I'm doing it in an indoor or in my home, do I actually need 5G? Or I can just use Wi-Fi? So or is it you're foreseeing this personal metaverse is like, oh, it's not just a room. You actually can walk out to your office, you go to home, on your way, on the MRT, you're actually still doing this personal metaverse on the move.
So basically you need only 4G if you are using like simple digital objects. But let's say if you have this kind of like digital human service doing something there, you need 5G and low latency. Because without that, there will be like huge lag and it's very annoying for your eyes. So you need like really good connectivity.
Okay. It'll be exciting. Everybody putting on goggles on the move.
Yeah.
Quite dangerous, actually.
Yeah. Then you need 5G security.
Correct. Yeah, so there are some players out there who are using XR-related solutions for things like self-directed learning or even real-time remote assistance for your mission-critical use cases. For example, in the maintenance and repair space, right? Very often, some of these companies, when they send out their technicians or their engineers to work on a mission-critical task, they are only given a stipulated duration, 1 or 2 hours. They need to get the task done. So, they can actually use some of these XR-related solutions to kind of speed up that self-directed learning or even leverage the platform to get real-time remote assistance. The thing is, when they are out, they are outdoor, right? So Wi-Fi doesn't cut it. So 5G network slicing capability gives them that assured, reliable network connectivity when they're on the ground to complete that mission-critical task. Yeah, but if you're talking about putting Oculus lens at home for your own recreation, then I think actually Wi-Fi should be sufficient. You don't need 5G for that. Yeah.
Okay. Anything exciting? If not, I'll just add a bit of techie stuff lah. So it's that, I mean, recently we heard a lot of news of this electric vehicles or autonomous vehicles. So there's a big company in China, Geely. They're actually shooting up a lot of LEO satellites. So one trend, if you talk to all these companies, they are saying that, oh, in the future, autonomous vehicle will connect to 5G, will also connected to satellite. So wow. This is actually one exciting area. Of course, Singapore we may not need that because actually we have good coverages. We have 5G base stations, we have Singtel base stations. But of course, if you go out, bigger countries like in US or this, there's a lot of suburban areas, then you actually may need that. So this is another sort of exciting area. Okay, so we have time for some questions, more questions, or any panelists, any things you want to share more? Use cases, yeah.
Yeah, another area that I like to share, I don't know if it's very relevant, it's not really in the, I think we talk about some of the mission critical infrastructures. We do see that, there's quite a strong adoptions in the oil and gas industries because, they are usually in the remote and very harsh environments. So they always struggle with like secure, reliable and low latency network, connectivity. So I think this is where, the beauty of 5G comes in, where to actually address these sort of issues that they have in the very harsh environments.
Yeah. Thank you. So we have a question from Lisa. So Lisa says, in which industries have the use of 5G being the greatest right now and in the near future?
I think the key industries will be manufacturing, maybe transport and logistics as well, public safety, physical security, surveillance, like where Axis Communications is in, and then some use cases in 5G and all. But manufacturing is definitely a very key industry. There's a lot of use cases for 5G.
Yeah, there's I visited one factory actually in a country where that companies build all these LCD panels. So they have all these high definition 4K video streaming real time, and the product line is really configurable. So depending on so they need that to be wireless, and they also have edge at the camera, so they need to do some AI. So there's a huge amount of data standing up and down. So they have tried with 5G, and the experience was much better. So that was another example that we'll see a lot of opportunity on this advanced manufacturing, where you want to process your data, as what Connie has mentioned. Process your data with edge computing together with your connectivity all together in one. That will actually make the a lot of production line more efficient. So that's one big area that we see.
I think one thing I'd like to add also, we're actually seeing a lot of like requests, or rather a lot of projects currently we're doing where we look into not just the oil and gas industry, we're also looking into the remote locations of, like, for example, some power stations, or even in some countries, we are also using 5G to monitor forest fires, because usually these areas are huge and they don't really have secure connectivities. And we're currently working with some companies where we, like what Tony mentioned, there's analytics on the cameras where they detect the smokes and the fire, and then it gets sent back to the command center so that, if there's any response needed, like for example, evacuations, that can be done immediately. So we see that quite a lot currently using 5G.
So anything else from a panel, or since there's no questions from the audience, any questions you want to ask? Anything about the use cases? Okay, we have no questions from the audience. Anything from the panelists you want to share? If not, I'll share very techie stuff, which you all may not want to listen to.
We like to hear techie stuff. Tony, go ahead.
So maybe I'll just fill in some time. So I guess 5G evolution, I just want to let the audience know, the 5G involves us of 3 releases. You can think of 3 specifications, 15, 16, 17. what we see 5G now is an early stage. So there'll be a more exciting thing coming out in 16, 17. We'll roll out different operators. Singtel probably have a different roadmap in the next 4 to 5 years. Then you will see the full-fledged of 5G, where real-time applications, scalable, and others will come in. And you will also see the possibility of new technologies where your 5G network will be connected to the satellite. So if I want to mention that this is an area that is related to new areas like autonomous electric vehicle and all this. So this is something exciting. So this is a bit. So you can see that we are only at the beginning of 5G, early stage of use case. We'll definitely see more, but we should treat 5G as not just a pipe of sending information. It will be a foundation layer that connect all the vertical services. When all these vertical services will come together, we will see more and more of this in the next few years. But I think it's important to get into this to build up your capability, your ecosystem. Your developer will be important for your applications related, whether it's metaverse, whether it's camera analytics at the edge. How do you actually design your factory? Port is an exciting area for Singapore. I think Connie really mentioned, Connie maybe can elaborate more. I think Singapore want to push this autonomous sort of ship, right? You have autonomous vehicle, autonomous ship. Then I think 5G will be important. Air taxi, we may have air taxi coming, that definitely 5G. So there's a lot of really exciting new areas. I'll stop here for my techie stuff so I can pass back to the panelists.
Yeah, so maybe I just want to add that, I talk about our 5G multi-access edge compute platform. So this is a real-time orchestration platform that helps you to orchestrate applications as well. So there is an application marketplace layer that delivers services and solutions. So think of this like an Apple store, with many exciting AI cutting-edge applications. And depending on the needs of enterprises, they then cherry pick and deploy the applications that they think will serve their need. So when we talk about, bringing the whole ecosystem of partners together, we are in that sense making accessible our platform to our partners as well. So we have onboarded Axis solutions into our application marketplace. So for those of you who needs, intelligent video analytics, cameras and all, feel free, to look up our marketplace, and try out Axis solution and see how it works and all, leveraging 5G.
Yeah. So and to add on that, I think we should treat Singapore as a starting point where you are subsequently use this to jumpstart new market in Southeast Asia, for example, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand. So I think there's a lot of new opportunities as they see you build a capability here, try out, then build your ecosystem and partners, then you actually can move up. So I think since there's a lot of ecosystem here already, whether it's a test bed, whether it's an operator, infra, try to use this, leverage on this to build up, and also your manpower and the talent you need. Yeah. So maybe I will pass. If there's no questions from the audience, from the audience and panelists, maybe I can pass back to Brian. Brian, you want to take back from here?
Hi, Tony. Yep, sure. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for that insightful panel discussion, and thank you also to our presenters for sharing more about your technology today. So, I think I can speak on SGInnovate's behalf to say that it was a pleasure to have a group of experts such as yourself here today to share your insights on such an important and upcoming topic. So, special thanks to the team at the Nordic Innovation House as well, Nicole and Jackie, for your help with putting this event together. So thank you to all for our audience for submitting all your questions. And thank you so much for engaging with us today.
Sorry, Brian, I think there's a question.
Oh, okay.
One additional question.
Go ahead. Yeah, last
Connie.
Yeah, let's do
Connie,
it.
how do we join the Future Now initiative?
All right. Okay. Reach out to your account manager in Singtel, and your account manager will send out an invite, to you to come by our Future Now. If not, you can drop me an email. So I think SGInnovate has got my email address. So I welcome anyone, startup, corporates, if you're interested to pay us a visit, to just drop me an email.
Yeah, and similarly from Nordic Innovation House, we will be working more in the second half also on the topic of 5G and connectivity. So if there are any of you who, would like to know more, or let's say, have more questions after today, please get connected with us. We will also be doing, some more activities in second half with some of the companies also in today's webinar. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Then if anybody wants to know more about FCP, then you can just check our website, IMDA website. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So thank you for that. For our audience today, if you would like any of the information from email addresses for Connie or Nicole or Tony, we will be including all that in the post-event email, for including a recording for this webinar. So do keep an eye out for that later. And with that, we come to the end of our session today. Thank you all for spending your Tuesday afternoon with us. And on behalf of SGInnovate, I would like to wish you all a great week ahead, and we look forward to seeing you again at our next event.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you
So much,
Bye.
everybody.